Let's bring in Liberal MP Andrew Wallace now, who joins me from the Sunshine Coast. Andrew, your response to the government's warnings today about the nuclear policy?
Well, nothing's new, Caroline. When Labor's back is against the wall, all they know is to come out swinging. They are very, very concerned about the polls, clearly. The Prime Minister during the week has been threatening a double dissolution election. They're starting to clutch at straws. We're seeing a very, very desperate Prime Minister. And really, Chris Bowen does what Chris Bowen does best, and that is absolutely destroy his portfolio. This is a bloke who's never been able to manage any of the portfolios that he's ever been able to have. This is the bloke that effectively promised that our power bills would go down by $275. In effect, they've gone up by around $1,000. So, I was actually at an aluminium fabricator's business today, and he was telling me that aluminium has effectively gone up by around 50% in the 2.5 years that Labor has been in government. That's what happens when you have a renewables and when you put all of your energy on renewables. This government has put all of their energy policy on black, and that's exactly what's happening. We are blacking out. We know that this government has trying to aim for 90% renewables by 2034. Now, what's happening, of course, is that Australians' energy bills are going up and up and up. But what we're seeing is businesses are folding because they simply can't afford the energy costs that are coming from this Labor government's energy policies. So what we're seeing is an absolute disaster from this government. When they promised us price reductions, all we're seeing is significant price increases.
As we said earlier on the panel, I do find it curious that the Energy Minister can be so confident about this modelling when Peter Dutton hasn't released the details of the policy yet. I'll ask you the same question I asked Tina McQueen. When will the Coalition release its own costings into its nuclear policy?
Well, Caroline, we will continue to discuss our nuclear energy policy with the Australian people. This is a huge change for Australians. But the reality is, if we want to get to net zero by 2050, nuclear has to be in the mix. The world is moving away from coal, but we need to keep that gas in the mix. Sure, renewables can be a part of it, but when the sun's not shining and the wind's not blowing, for companies, for businesses that are like the aluminium business that I saw today, like steel smelters, they can't simply rely upon the vagaries of renewable energy. Now, when the election comes closer, Peter Dutton and Ted O'Brien will release the costings of all of these things, but we've got a way to go yet before now and the next election. And we're continuing to talk to the Australian people, and we'll make our announcements at the appropriate time.
Well, I dare say it's going to look very different to Labor's warnings about it. Let's move quickly on now. We have only about a minute, but on to Tanya Plibersek's decision to effectively block that gold mine in New South Wales on what turned out to be very questionable heritage grounds. Now, the Coalition is launching a fresh bid to overturn that decision. Tell me about that.
Well, look, I mean, what we know from Tanya Plibersek's decision, and in fact, this government's decisions in relation to mining and resources, there's over 420 jobs on the go at the moment, mining and resources jobs, which are being delayed or disrupted or having had to be cancelled. Now, that's the equivalent of $525 billion worth of projects. It's over 100,000 Australian jobs. And the Blaney job, the Blaney mine, having had that cancelled, that is typical of what this government and the way that it's been approaching its environmental approach to mining. Peter Dutton has said that an elected coalition government will be the best friend of mining in this country. At the end of the day, this Labor government wants to kill the goose that laid the golden egg. It's mining that this country has been able to enjoy the quality and the standard of living that we are all enjoying and have enjoyed for decades. So I don't know where they think they're going to get their money from, whether the government thinks they're going to get their tax revenue from if they continue to kill mining, but the coalition will be miners' best friends.
OK, well, Liberal MP Andrew Wallace, thank you very much for joining us.